Okay, here we go. My name is Jeremy Wernley, and I'm the founder of One More Step. Let me see if you guys can see this logo in here. It says One More Step into the Light. Now, you might notice that there is 3 steps here. We got past, present, and future being represented in those steps. Because with every generation, there is one more step into the light of Christ. It's a God-given vision of the past, present, and future of what God is doing. And One More Step has a central focus on Christian creativity and innovation, playing a huge role, basically Christian art renaissance in this time, playing a huge role in the awakening in the world and revival in the church. And it's going to set the tone for this century and lay down the foundations for this millennium. Remember, we're in the 3rd one. And so, with that being said, how does that happen, stepping into light? Well, that happens through Jesus' Great Commission, listening to what he said and doing what he's saying, to share the gospel and go and make disciples of all nations. Make disciples, not converts, of all nations. So that happens through what? Christian mission work. Christian mission work, right? Now, when I say Christian missionary work, there's probably different feelings. There's maybe positive ideas and negative things and all kinds of thoughts and confusion. And maybe just as a Christian missionary too, you have a lot of questions, and maybe some people just have questions about Christian missionary work. So let's look into this through the lens of past, present, and future. I hope this won't be exhaustive, but I do believe this will be helpful for you. Now, to do that, to look at things through the lens of Christian mission work, you kind of look at, okay, how do you categorize people when it comes to Christian mission work? Well, there's 3 main categories in the world. 3 main categories in the world. You're like, really, Jeremy? Yeah, 3 main categories in the world. Look at it. Hear me out. You're going to realize this is true. 3 main categories in the world. There are people who identify as Christian, okay? Now, you might be like, wait, how is that like a focus for Christian mission work? Well, it's a focus for Christian mission work because just because you're a Christian, identify as a Christian doesn't mean you really have got a hold of the gospel. It doesn't really mean you have faith in Christ Jesus. You really know him and are known by him. So that's one category of focus for mission work. That's, for instance, when we make content, films, things like that, that's a focus for us, as well as the second group is a focus for us too, which are the lost, but the gospel is within reach, like an American who doesn't identify as a Christian. And then there's the 3rd category. Okay. So we had those who identify as Christian, those who are lost, who don't identify as Christian, but the gospel is in reach. And number 3, which is the gospel is not within reach, the unreached category, people category, meaning that there's no perceivable access to the gospel. And or there's 2% of people are Christian or less in this place, area, province, state, nation. And so then what? Realistically, what does that look like? How do they hear the gospel and how are they learning about it? They don't, right? So that's why it's called an unreached group. Okay, that's also a focus for One More Step in the content we make, and the vision of Christian creativity and innovation being important for the Great Commission to play out today, the One More Step into the light. Now, there's over time, like I talked about, like Christian mission work, right? Over time, there's negative and positives. Well, we've learned from it. And there's this term that's developed called missiology. And within missiology are 3 disciplines. One is theology, using the Bible to understand how to actually do mission work in the best possible way, biblically, how God has taught us. Number 2 is anthropology. It's like really seeing the people, really seeing their culture, their religions, their language, and learning mother tongues at times and being able to speak intelligently in mother tongues. The gospel is an important part of being able to really bring the gospel in a Jesus-like way. And then also the 3rd one is history. And so we're going to take a look more at history of mission work because we can learn from it. And for instance, did you know that in terms of contemporary missionary work, the first great missions era was called the beachhead era, 1792 to 1910, this loose in dates, but around that time was what was called the Great Century, global missions movement, beachhead era, called the beachhead era because the focus was on the coastline. And then there, from 1865 to 1974 was the frontiers mission, and they went into the interior of the country was the focus. And that was the second one. 1934 to 2004, unreached people's mission era. It doesn't mean we're not still going for unreached groups. It doesn't mean there isn't still unreached groups. It just means that was the era. And there was a shift around 1989 of indigenous initiated missions, meaning missions were successful. And what does it mean for missions to be successful? Well, pin on that real quick. Around 1989, initiated missions, meaning that the indigenous people were the ones who began and are so much mission work is coming forth from that. So what does it mean, though, to be successful? Well, let's look at the 4 pillars of mission strategy. One is evangelizing, going out there and making it happen. And then it's from there, number 2 is planting churches, okay? And so you go to a indigenous group, for instance, and you evangelize, and then you successfully plant a church, people get a hold of the gospel, and then you train them up to run the churches, and then they run the churches, and then they're going and reaching out. And number 4 of that is touching. It's touching, which means that you are actually helping people holistically, that the hungry are being fed, the thirsty are being given clean water, the people are being given dignity and clothing and homes, and we are coming together, not from a superior mindset, but together, in Christ, getting hold of the gospel and needs being provided. That is missions work, Christian missions work. And that is missiology. And that is the 4 pillars of mission strategy playing out well. And because of that, there's been a huge shift, where, from the Middle East to the West, from the West to the East, and as far as Christianity goes, and now the East is potentially going to be the largest Christian group in the world in our lifetime, and the largest missions numbers is going to be coming from the East. I hope that this was helpful for you, and you can walk away with some of those practical applications and better understanding of Christian mission work. If you like this, please like the video, and please subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for watching.